You've probably seen some comic like this floating around Facebook, usually reposted by your conservative aunt, or some sort of comedy sketch like this.
I don't see the word coffee.
Oh, we sell coffee.
Well, that's what I want.
Okay, so we have 3 different roasts.
I don't want 3 different roasts. I just want coffee. What would you give me if I just asked for coffee?
I wouldn't. I would describe the 3 different roasts.
Today we're looking into the conservative coffee fantasy. This one joke in particular is really fascinating to me because it is so pervasive and yet it is completely detached from reality.
Large black coffee.
A what?
Large black coffee.
Do you mean a venti?
No, I mean a large.
Take it from me, I understand that these are jokes, so exaggeration is to be expected, but there is also a clear social commentary underlying this joke that is criticizing an aspect of society that simply does not exist. It'd be like if I said something like, don't you hate it when you see Filipinos at the bar and they're always ordering gin and tonics? The joke doesn't make any sense because that is simply not a stereotype or cultural trend that exists. To be fair, I didn't invest a lot of time trying to make that joke funny in the first place, but even if it was hilarious, the criticism I am putting on the Filipino community isn't actually based on any observable truth. Imagine I just don't know enough about Filipino culture, and that is actually a really nasty stereotype about them. This comic in particular has become the poster child for this sort of thing. I would generally file this under boomer humor more than anything else, but there is an underlying conservative hue to this whole thing. The annoying, clueless barista with crazy hair and a nose ring, while our hero is some type of soldier. It's completely irrelevant to the joke, but the artist felt the need to include this visual detail to the reader to let them know that he supports the troops. It is such a small yet critical detail that really gives a lot of insight into the artist's point of view. I did some digging and I found out that this artist, Jeff Bacon, was actually in the Navy and does a comic strip called Broadside that is centered around the Navy and military humor. So maybe that's supposed to be the context for this, but I don't know if Navy officers go to Bushwick coffee shops in full uniform. Maybe someone in the comments can correct me on what the protocol is for that sort of thing. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it, but I do think the subtext is definitely, look at this real military man. He doesn't want any gay coffee. Now, I can't speak to Bacon's personal politics, but it has been shared enough by that type of person that I think we know what I mean. This is the same sort of thing that leads to things in real life like Black Rifle coffee, where people buy it to fight back against woke coffee, I guess. I can't speak personally to the quality or what the founders stand for because there's only one coffee that I drink, and that's by Rudy Giuliani.
Deep green, very good quality. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto.
You can find countless other examples of this exact comedic trope happening. The most recent that I'm aware of is Tom Segura's sketch comedy show Bad Thoughts. I won't play the whole thing, but the entire sketch is a coffee shop being complete assholes to Tom Segura, messing up his coffee while he remains polite the entire time until he finally snaps and viciously murders the entire staff.
Oh my god!
The sketch itself is less comedy and more middle-aged man power fantasy, portraying Tom Segura as cool and powerful, not necessarily funny. He doesn't even flinch from a knife wound as he dispatches several grown men with ease. As you can see, the entire sketch is on YouTube, and it isn't like a meta fantasy of a passive person. The sketch is portraying this as having actually happened, and Tom Segura being in the right the whole time. I believe the entire show's premise is based around enacting out these dark fantasies, you know, the bad thoughts, and given Segura's infamous airport meltdown, I don't think he's joking. I don't know if this is a generational thing, but this whole sketch really isn't comedy to me. You know, there's one joke at the end about police brutality that is legitimately funny, but it is completely detached from the premise of the show.
You killed 3 people.
I know. I've never done that.
don't know, you guys do it. Take it easy.
It sort of reminds me of when Michael Scott goes to the improv class and just keeps shooting everybody, but like they actually gave him a sketch show unironically. This plays out more like a self-serious Steven Seagal movie, which is fitting because that's one of Segura's most famous bits. Be careful when roasting Seagals, lest you become a Seagal yourself. This premise is so fascinating to me because it's something that has literally never happened, yet is the backbone of boomer humor. Having worked in a service job in the past, and I've lived on the planet Earth, I've never once seen an employee just straight up ignore a customer asking for the most basic option. Obviously, we've seen upsells and pushy salespeople, but this pervasive, annoying barista character is completely rooted in non-truth. Of course, I would be remiss to ignore the obvious undertone of insecure masculinity around not wanting to buy one of these frou-frou girl drinks that have whipped cream in them and sprinkles or whatever. The person who shares this type of meme usually has a profile picture of them in a pickup truck with Oakley shades and a perfectly manicured goatee. In recent years, the meme of the non-binary barista has broken through to the mainstream and has become a pretty standardized stereotype in modern culture. You can expect your coffee to taste better if your barista looks like that. But these memes predate that, before people use phrases like non-binary and opted to just call them gay. These memes usually stem from seeing service workers as less than whatever bullshit desk jockey job they have, so they have the right to talk down to them, based on the stereotype that service workers are basically brainless drones unable to carry out any simple tasks like giving our macho man his black coffee. Never mind the fact that he is going into a place that sells girly drinks when he could get black coffee literally anywhere, let alone make it at home. I feel like most people in America do tend to become more conservative as they grow older and generally begin to despise the use that replaced them. So they are set in their ways. Black coffee never went away. It was never taken from us, yet conservatives continue to pretend that drinking black coffee is some sort of dying breed of person from a time when men were men. When I was your age, our coffee was black and our water fountains were white. So what do you think? Are you less of a man for enjoying your coffee? Let me know what you think in the comments, and what's the gayest drink you've ever drunk? Leave a comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.